All right, so we'll start here, and then whoever's not here yet can join in later or watch the recording. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a minute since I've done a review session like this, so it might take a week or so to get back in the groove of things. And as long as the market's active, I have no problem continuing to do these. I personally think that I trade a lot better during the week. Getting myself prepared. Sunday. If you're not one that's studying over the weekend like every day or something like that, or at least checking out, then I think this definitely helps you kind of get your mindset ready to go for Money Monday. See how things were behaving the week before, and then that way you can be ready to go for either the same type of movement and patterns, or know what's not working. Personally, this week, I wasn't really here Friday, so I can't really comment on how Friday was after market open. But this week it started out okay. We were coming out of a hot week because the week before that, we had every day we had a 200% runner or gainer in pre market alone. So I think we were coming off from that hype. And then, we seen a little bit of a pop on a few plays Monday. And then I think the rest of the week kind of fizzled out. We did have some jobs report or something like that, so there was some stuff going on in the broader market. But overall, I think activity started to slow down a bit. So we'll go through some trades. Obviously, we can only look at stationary charts. Can't really, tell you what it looked like at the time. If you are new to reviewing and everything like that, stationary charts are good to look at for like candle patterns and just kind of see how the stock was moving. But as far as like the actual buy-in point and everything like that, that can greatly be different when you're watching the actual tape and time and sales in level two. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about with tape, level two or time and sales, and you're trying to trade, you need to be using those tools. The best entries come from using those tools, not from using EMAs and all this other stuff, because those are lagging indicators. It's already happened. So but I think most of you here are using level two. So I'll just run through. I went through the watch list basically. Each morning I put out and I wrote down a few stocks that were the best performers, all from that watch list. As I'm going through it, like each day, if you do have a stock you want me to take a look at, or maybe something that ran in the afternoon that I, not talking about, let me know. And this also doesn't have to be all perfect stuff, right? If there's a stock that you took a loss on, either send me a DM or feel free to unmute yourself and let's review it. There's not a lot of people on the call anyways, and I promise you, nobody here is going to make fun of anybody. And if they do, I'll just kick them out of the room. We're not going to have that type of attitude here. We've all been through it. I trust me, I get chopped up all the time, here and there. So you got to let the ego down and share so we can, see people's perspectives and see, maybe what you missed and why it happened. So we'll just dive in. And like I said, feel free to interrupt me at any point if I'm going faster, if you have a question on it, because I can ramble and move pretty quickly. So anyways, 10-2 looks like the second was Money Monday. Like I said, we were coming off a hot week and we had this Femi. Femi's the first one. I think Femi actually was something that ran earlier in the week before, if I'm not mistaken. Looks like the stock came out and, this is 4 a.m. activity over here. I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. right now. When things were super hot, there was a few times during, I think, end of COVID or something, I was waking up trading that time and it was working to my advantage. But right now I'm still only concentrating on trading at 7 a.m. and later. I will say one little thing that I did start to see is there was a couple things that, and Mark might even be able to confirm this, but I think there was a few trades that happened before 7 a.m., like 6:30, 6:45. There was a couple good stocks to get into that were running up. So this one had the 4 a.m. pop. So anytime I'm sitting down and, at my computer reviewing, like, looking at my gainers list right in the morning, I'm going to see what's on the gainers list. And I'm going to see, and obviously Femi was one. If Femi already popped, or if the stock already popped, it doesn't necessarily have to be Femi. at like the 4 a.m. time, you definitely want to have it on your watch list, for the 7 a.m. time. Obviously, we're watching news from 7 a.m. past, and we're trying to discover our other plays. But if it popped up at 4 a.m. and it's on your gainers list, you need to be watching it. A lot of times, what I've been seeing is stocks are kind of below VWAP, and you can simply just watch for them to push or start getting volume in or push up through VWAP for the right at 7 a.m. Because kind of look at what happened. This is when majority of pre-market traders are getting their computer, and look at what happens. Even though this is kind of hard to see, look at where the volume's starting to come in right here. So right here going in 7 a.m., people are sitting down at their desk and they're like, oh, hey, this was a mover at 4. Maybe it'll be another thing. Obviously, it came up, it crossed this VWAP. Let me just kind of zoom in on this, make it a little bit better. We crossed VWAP. We tried to do a VWAP roll, but we failed, right? I'm going to zoom in here. We failed because we came over here. 10 EMA looked really good where VWAP is. We tried a doji, and what happens? Based on this candlestick, we did a doji, a flat red, and then we tanked. So if you played any of these candles or through this VWAP area, I don't know why you would hold anything below that. That's where you'd be setting your risk. Also, I have a line right here at 360. This color line on my chart means it was chart history. So that means anybody that knows how to chart should also have a $3.60 line. This isn't a orange line on my chart, which means intraday. And if you don't know how to chart intraday like me, I could see why you wouldn't have it. But this line, everybody should have, because that's all from a 1-year chart. So you have VWAP cracking and you have $3.60 cracking. You should have been out. There's no reason to hold. Why would you hold this and be like, well, I want a 200 EMA dip buy? Well, you don't turn a VWAP roll or something like that into 200 EMA dip buy. You're out, and you're limiting your risk through the trade. And then if you still like Femi, what are you waiting to do? And keep in mind, during these review sessions, I'm only going to be reviewing how I trade. I'm not going to be like, well, you could have bought it off here off the 200 EMA. I ain't playing this stuff down here. I don't play stuff below VWAP. That's just one of my big rules. I rarely ever do it, and it works very well for me. Some people love the 200. Some people love the 89. Some people love the 500. Some people love, there's so many different things out there. It's fine. If it's working for you, I applaud you. But this works for me. So anyways, in these review sessions, you're going to get how I would trade it. So anyways, what happens? Kind of consolidates. Then we finally get the next push here at 8:45 through VWAP, which is not at a press release time. So this was another good look at it. You could have either just played the push or waiting for a VWAP roll. Had some kind of goofy candle here, but overall, few dojis. You finally went doji, flat green, and the roll was in a way successful. A little bit differently. I would have liked it to pull back, but overall, it held above VWAP and it continued to go. I should have probably, I deleted some lines, but there might have been obviously there's some type of resistance line because it came up here and stopped. But like I said, Femi ran earlier the following week, so there might be a line that I'm missing. But anyways, we came up, hit resistance again, kind of where it stopped here. Like we stopped here, came back down, we stopped here, and then we kept going. So overall, if you didn't get the play through VWAP or some type of roll, you could have probably just went off from this intraday resistance area and then played the break. If you missed any of this stuff, right? We're looking for like a candle break above 378, which magically kind of lines up plus or minus a few pennies to what? Natural support resistance, which is 375. So just to make things simple, 375 was kind of, we'll just use natural. And this would have been your next test. You could have tried here, crack 10 EMA, but there wasn't really a full candle depending on if you're playing 375 or 378. So that might have faked some people out. But overall, where you look, this thing didn't even crack back below VWAP. 375, VWAP's down here at 365. That's 10 cents. That's really not that much risk. I don't know why you would sell out if that failed. But then it popped and it ran. So going into market open, I kind of have a rule. I don't like to hold through market open any plays unless I'm like in from a lower point and in the profit quite a bit. So if I was playing a 375 break back here, then what I would have done is I would have taken some profits into market open, right? Because I'm not going to get stuck in a fake out breakout. So, and you're at pretty much $4 into market open. So I would have taken some profits off and then I would have let some ride. There's nothing wrong with swinging for the fences, to see if this one happens to work if you're in at a lower position average. But if I will pretend, say I was in at 375 and market open was coming in and we're pretty much break even, guess what? I'm GTFO. I'm getting out of that play because I don't like to trade personally the craziness at market open. So I'm going to wait for 3 to 5 minutes. I usually don't start buying until 9:33 to 9:35. Anyways, if you do have some, there's nothing wrong. Sell some, lock some gains in, sell off a quarter, sell off 50%, whatever you like, and then wait. The stock comes up, and then what does it do? Puts it a little bit higher. If we're just playing an intraday, we could just throw something there real quick. 432, stock pulls back, and then we start to reverse. Look at the timing on my crosshairs. It says 9:34. So now we are officially in the green, the okay zone. We are past my rule of not trading the first 3 to 5 minutes, and then you can just take the break for it through 432, and it comes up, and I have some 473 chart resistance, and look at what it hits, 475. That's a pretty nice trade. So you would have taken some off into the profits, maybe let some ride. What happens? Oops, that looks like crap. Let me fix this. What happens as we come up into resistance? Does anybody see some issues with this chart? Right into resistance, also telling you, hey, we might pull back. Does anybody want to comment? Somebody's got to see some signals.
Decline in volume, and
The extension.
prices are still extending up.
You're talking the extension. Was that you, Ed?
Yeah, so the volume is declining, and the prices are still extending, going higher, but extending off of the EMA. So
yep, you're getting that. And then I heard Mark say the extension as well. A big thing that some of you might not use, but you need to pay attention to, especially on I use Heikin Ashi charts. Heikin Ashi charts is we're starting to see what this is the 10 EMA, the blue line. This orangish line is the 8. I use it more for shorting. But what happens here? Look at. See this circle? We got the body of the candle starting to pull off from these EMAs, and it's happening into a resistance point. And we also have RSI up here. This red line is 80 on mine, and that's kind of more the max out point. So you have what? Stock coming in resistance, body's pulling off, high RSI. That doesn't mean that this stock is going to crash all the way back down and be a piece of junk. That just means, hey, it's probably going to pull back. A pullback is near or is going to happen, and it's probably time to lock in a little bit of profits just in case it doesn't hold and then move up. A lot of people say the bulls take the stairs, the shorts take the elevator. That's kind of right. As the stock's trending up, sure, sometimes we go on those crazy like parabolic, like multiple halt up into 1,000% stuff. That happens, but majority of the time the stock is going to trend up. It's going to pop up. It's going to pull back. It's going to pop up. It's going to pull back. It's going to pop up. It's going to pull back. Pullbacks are healthy. They allow like RSI to cool off. They allow these bodies to come back down to the 8 and 10 EMA, and they get ready for the next move. You get the people that are looking for like a bull flag or maybe a mini downtrend break or whatever they play for the next move. I happen to have this green line up here. I don't know if that changed, from later in the week, because keep in mind, this is Monday and this is charting from Friday. But if that was there, this is the weekly 50 EMA. This is a pretty good target. So I would be like, hey, it came up this high. It's probably going to go to $5. Like $5 is pretty close. So I'd be kind of more on the bullish side and be like, hey, it's extending. We're going to have a pullback, but I'm hoping that the pullback holds and we kind of flag and do our next break. And then I would be looking for what? Sort of like what happened over here. You're looking to play a bull flag off from a doji, or you're going to look for a top of a resistance break, right? So the new upper resistance here is like this 459. So I'd be waiting for the pullback and then be playing into 459. I'd be selling into 475, some partial, and then I'd be rotating through and looking for my $5 and for the flag to be successful. In this case, that didn't happen, as you can see, right? Candle was cracked. We cracked below 10 EMA, and the stock went into a downtrend. There was no bull flag even that set up. When a bull flag fails, it forms a downtrend. So then what also happens? The stock goes back below VWAP, and now we're coming up, we're rejecting. Coming up, we're rejecting. You have a pretty bearish candle here. A doji rejection candle, flat red into VWAP is like, I love this short signal here. So that's just telling me that the stock's probably going to fall further. So we'll take a quick look at it, see what it did for the rest of the day. I don't know if anything happened, but the stock's bearish. It's just down. It's down. It's down. And I don't think anything else happened, right? Let's see. Came up, tested, nothing until after hours. So I wasn't around, didn't play any of this, but there was no other buy signals that I seen on Femi. So any questions on Femi before I look at the next one?
No? So I got two questions. Number one, after it starts it extends and starts that downtrend, where would you have stopped out? Say if you were in it, there at the open or just after and caught a nice move, where would be your stop?
Where would be my stop if I was like up here?
If you're long traveling up, riding it up and it peaks there and begins that downtrend, has a nice kind of a extension short entry. Mm-hmm. Where would you cut it if you were long? Where would you get out?
Personally, regardless where if I was in from over here or say I was in off this is a new support line, right? It was resistance back here, but then we broke. So this line, mm-hmm. if I was in at any point from back here, over here, or the break of it, if I was playing from this point, that would have been where I was stopping out 432. And it happened to also be kind of the same area that the candles start cracking below the 10 EMA. Because this should have held this area at very least. Like this candle should have, which it did hold. The next candle should have not, cracked the 10 EMA if it was going to form a flag. It should have started doing something like this, coming down and doing like this for our next leg up is what should have happened. How many candles that should have taken, who knows? But that's what I would have been looking for. Because you got two things. You got
the crack of that support.
Crack of the support and the 10 EMA happening all at once.
And then let's just say that you weren't long, but you entered it short at that extension, mm-hmm. and then wrote it down, and you've got shares or maybe cycled shares when it came up and tested VWAP, and then gave you a good opportunity to re-enter your short or add to your short, and write it down. Where would you cut that short later on in the day? What would be your exit there?
Yep, probably had a red candle on this. I'm assuming a red candle short up here. I would have definitely been covering some off this like VWAP 50 MA, kind of all happens at the same spot. The 50 is my brown line. And then sure, if I was still short, I would have been looking for maybe something like this or like this to add into my short. And then my rule is, I would have covered some more at the 200 for sure. But then kind of after I hit these targets, like if it is 50 EMA or 200 or whatever, and I'm below all EMAs and everything else that I'm using on my chart, I'll look for other support areas to cover, but I will hold short unless the stock reclaims the 10 EMA. So I probably would have been covering the rest of my shares right here because I'm not going to get.
So that leads to another question. Then if let's just, a lot of times you leave in the day, you've already made a good trade, you've got some money, you've got range orders set. Mm-hmm. So you're setting your range orders, your covers, down low on targets, EMAs off of other time frames or whatever. But how do you set your stop on the tall side of that short? Is your short based on, say, that doji, before the flat top red? Is that going to be your the top side of your range order?
So are you saying if I got in short here and I was like going to walk away?
Yeah, or you're in short anywhere along there, but you're going to walk away and you've already made some profit, so you're not going to give much back, but you're hoping it bleeds the rest of the day. Where's your top side of that range?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yep. So if exactly that, I would just see where VWAP kind of is and see where it was meeting this resistance. If I was I'll never take a loss on my remaining shares, especially if it comes down. So if I'm going to set a range and say go golfing for the rest of the day, I'd probably put a 402 stop loss at the top of my range. And then I would probably come down here and be like, okay, I got support line here, support line down here, and just put like 3 or 4 different range orders for my remaining shares and then just walk away and let it do its thing. Obviously, what would have happened? It would have came up and I would have been stopped out on my remaining shares way over here. That's still 402. So probably 3. I like 3s and 7s. I was learned that from somebody, but I believe it. So who knows what other support areas I would have gotten. well, depending on where I was putting it, I don't know how good this is charted below here, but that would have sucked to bend short, not get any out over there, and then get stopped out later in the day. But you have to be,
Yeah.
ready for it. If you're going to be stepping away from your computer, you can't micromanage it. It's fine. So, but like you said, you already locked in some profits, so it's not like you're giving back anything.
No, thank you.
Yeah, good questions. All right, let's go to ICCM real quick. Man, we're already 22 minutes in and I'm still on Monday, but that's fine. That is fine. If we don't get through them all, I'd rather answer questions. We're looking for 10-2, and we don't have to review every stock on the watch list. So here we go. This is what I want to look at here. So this is what, 8 o'clock. You can see the stock popped up right at 8. I'm assuming ICCM had some type of news. I didn't go back and look, but based on how this candle just popped up at 8 a.m., it was a news pop. This was a cheapie as well, 50-cent stock. Looks like the first candle came all the way up to 84 cents. I will say this week has definitely taught me not to play news pops. And what I mean by that is you can't just hop on them right out of the gate. You need to wait for them to pop, find some type of resistance, reject, and then you go after the reversal. I have been noticing that in my trading, that's been more profitable than trying to go after it, because I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I tried to play news pop and got stuck on it. So I've been playing a little bit more conservative. And I think there's also a few people here that also kind of getting chopped up on news pops. So just be careful. Maybe this week, I'm not going to hop on them until something proves me wrong. So maybe it'll be this week. Maybe I'll miss one Monday where the stock just rips and rips and rips. Remember, the only time I get on news pops is if I can get in low before the pop happens, which we did see one of those. I think it was on Wednesday, FRLN. We all were very aware of the news before the stock even started running up, but I still think some people missed it. And we'll go over that. But anyways, what happens? The stock goes up. I think one of these lines needs to be deleted. There we go. Stock pops up. And this is the kind of the pullback that I'm talking about. See how it pops up here? You're looking at 50 MA, but then we actually kind of have a pullback. I'm going to tell you this candle was probably red for a little bit. This is why it's hard to, only use stationary charts to do your, studying off from, because I guarantee you during the process this was pulling back. So this is my little tiny mini pullback. And this is where I want to enter off from the stock. I'm not going to play the news pop. I don't care if this goes another 3 candles straight up without me. I got to wait for the stock to come up, stop, and then get kind of this lower high, right? See how this is a lower high, the body's lower. And then I can take my intraday line, put it across, and now I'm looking to play this break of pretty much 80 cents, 81 cents, whatever you want to call it. It's coming back, pulls it. Now you're in on one of these candles, end of this candle or this one. And now you're through 80 cents and you're looking for the 50 MA. 50 MA is 94. You're going to take some profits off, and then you might as well what? Just hold the rest of the shares until you get some type of bearish signal. It's right in 10 EMA. Everything's trending up. RSI, you can't just go off from RSI out of a news pop, because RSI is always going to be high out of a news pop. Volume starts at 0. So as soon as this gets like 10,000, 100,000 shares through it, well, who knows what the volume was at the current time. These were 34,000. This one was 80,000. That one's 138,000. So you're already over 200,000 shares. RSI is going to be high. So you can't just be like, oh, I can't get in because RSI is high. No, I use RSI later after the pullbacks, but you can't do it in a news pop where this will prevent you from getting in every one, right? Expect RSI to be high off from news. But anyways, you get the reversal, get the pullback, stock comes up, you're selling some into the 50 MA, and then you're just riding the rest. You never turn a winning trade into a losing trade. So if you're in from 81 cents, you hit the 50 MA, you sell 25%, then all of a sudden stock starts dropping, you're out. You only locked in 25 cents for profit. You don't hold the other 75% all the way back down here and hope that some other type of pullback you wanted happens. No, you cut it. You're out, because who knows? We see it all the time. Quick little pop up, and then they just give it back. A few of them did it this week. So you sell some off, still riding, still riding, still riding. This is kind of the next little area that gets a little messy, right? I think this isn't 100%, but what's 100%? 54 cents is going to be what, $1.08. So 100%, yeah, is pretty much where this red line is, $1.08. So now we hit 100% on the stock. You definitely need to be selling some into 100%. You should also do what? Expect a pullback. Also, this whole kind of time, the bodies are starting to pull off. This body is really big. Or I should make that a little bit bigger, but the 8 and 10 EMA, see how it's a little bit pulled off. The red line is my VWAP. So now you got the body pulled off into resistance. RSI is going to be high. We know that. Expect a pullback. That doesn't mean the stock's dead like we talked about in the last one. It just means a pullback's going to happen. Now you're looking for a mini bull flag. Mini bull flag coming down, something like that. I don't draw them as much. I can see this without drawing lines and taking time, but that's just where it needs to be. And this line needs to be down here. I don't know why it's up there. So now you got the top. Now you're looking for the break if you want it for more, because what's next? This green line is the 200 on my daily. This is my next big target that I'm looking for on this stock. So I know if it breaks 100%, there's probably a high probability we're going there. So we go what? We break that top resistance and we're just going. We have another little pull, like hold up here at 100%, but it does break through the next candle, and now you're just going. And look at $1.25 ish area was that 200 or $1.23 actually, and you hit $1.23. Now, also something I will tell you is put limit sells in pre-market, because most of the time when we hit these, we'll go back here. We'll pretend that all this stock did was go to 100%, which is this red line, and then fall all the way back. Majority of the time, if you don't have a limit sell already planned out and sitting up here, you're not going to be able to get out. It just happens too quick. If you're fumbling around with some type of montage for your orders and trying to, match what you're seeing printing, you're going to miss it. You need to, hotkeys. It's still, possible, but I've just noticed when I get into a trade, I know I have the trade planned out and I know what I'm looking for. So I put a limit sell, and I'm going to put it a little bit below, because I don't want just to get, miss a quick wick. So same thing. If you're looking for 200 EMA, and we'll pretend that it was at $1.25, I also put it a few pennies below. I said 3s and 7s, right? So look at 123 was the top. So I can't tell you based on this chart if all my shares would have got through on this, but it's good to have a limit sell on this stuff below, a few pennies below your target. And then the stock comes back. Doesn't mean it's dead, right? Because next we'd be working probably on, oh, look at that. You got a 50 MA on the weekly, which is this style line on my chart. So that would be my next target if we got through that. And then we would have 200%, which would be what? $1, we'll just say $1.60 to make things easy. Yep. It kind of looks like that anyway. So that would be the 200% you're looking for. See how I have each additional targets? And then also, I know this might get a little bit confusing, but see, I have this line, this line, this line. These are chart history lines. See how it's now congested, like how much more resistance is between this line and this line versus what are we looking at here? We got the 50 MA and we got the 200, excluding this orange line. We have one chart history line and we have a 100% line. There's a lot more, fresh air for the stock to move and range for the stock to move versus when you're looking for a stock to move from here to here and you do have it charted out and you see all these chart history lines. Doesn't mean it can't get there, but it just means it's going to probably be tougher, right? Because there's going to be people looking at having different targets. There might be a group of people not using a 50 MA on the weekly. So they're selling here at $1.32, So when you see that on your chart, just keep that in mind that this is going to be tough and this was easier. So stock came up, and then what happens? We try to set up in a little bull flag, get that pullback, and we just fail, and then we start cracking 10 EMA. So if I was in at any point of there selling, I probably would have been selling out my remaining shares on this candle. Sure, it could hold 100% as new support and come back up, but now I'm going to be looking for one or two things. You're either looking for a downtrend reversal, if you like those, some type of triangle setup, whatever pattern you like, or you're looking for the break. The next break was 120 or this 125, this 200. So if you're a breakout guy or girl, you're looking for that. But the stock does what? Comes down, comes down, comes down. Then what happens? We're below VWAP. If you're shorter, there was probably some people shorting into this, that clear target, that 200. But, if you are shorting and the stock is now claimed and quite a bit away above 100%, it's hard for me personally to attack that short, because who knows? Is this going to be the next 500% runner? Is this going to be the next 1000% runner? I now am not going to short this, and I usually don't short day one runners until we're below VWAP, and then this would be my pattern. So I would be looking short into VWAP rejection, which was absolutely beautiful, and down it went with multiple targets. Look at, came down, touched 50, cover, came down, touched 50 on daily, cover. Look at this. We have this intraday support. Look at where it came down and try to reverse off from perfectly. I would have covered some. Look at, we stayed below the 10. Look at, I probably would have covered some. Now we started breaking above. Probably would have just been out the remaining of my shares here if I was micromanaging my short and not just setting a range and walking away. And I rarely short in pre-market. It's extremely dangerous for the average trader. But yeah, overall that was good. Looks like market open came. You had this crazy fake out breakout candle. See how it quickly kind of came up. I promise you, a bunch of traders probably got hit in that bulls because they're like, oh, this is going to run back up. And what happens? It went up and then whoosh, flushed you down, and that was it. You had this breakthrough here, this old support, you're down below. Now you're trying to break it. You did break, but what happens? We run into VWAP and we reject. Another shorting opportunity there, and then the stock dies. So nothing else happened. So pretty clean setup on ICCM, honestly. This back here, this first entry might have been a bit difficult for some if you weren't quick, but you have to be super focused on this. If the stock comes out with news, you're not doing anything else, but you're watching this play and watching your level 2 and your time in sales. You're not going to get coffee. You're not, playing with your cat or doing whatever, right? You are full focus watching these candles and getting in, because this can happen very quickly. That's 3 candles. That's 3 minutes. That's pretty quick in this scenario. All right. I think that's good for ICCM. Any other stocks on Monday that you want me to review, or questions pertaining to ICCM? And I'm really only going to talk about this pre-market and market through market open majority time, because that's the time I trade. I'm not really in over here like doing much. I don't think the opportunity's been worthwhile to sit in front of your computer all day, much after 10:30 to 12 o'clock seems to be when it settles down the rest of the way. So I still think best opportunity has been pre-market. So let's move to Tuesday. And I think I have two stocks. Quickly go over ALXO. Bring it up. And that was going to be on the 3rd. Let me go find it. So easy to see. Let's see. Yep. It's kind of what we're looking at. Stock actually had a fall down for whatever reason into 6 o'clock. And stock reversed back up. And this was one of those things. I was talking about the 6:30. There was actually another trade. This was something that it popped up, and then 7 a.m. came. More traders started seeing it, and kind of the break point would have been actually this line right here. So waiting till 7 a.m., you would have been definitely chasing it and just buying into, simply that this was going up and it had volume coming in and traders were looking at it. But honestly, the best trade happened before 7 a.m. Right here in the 654 to 658 area. So it did pop up, finally met some type of resistance, 11.25, $12 it hit there. And then we put a resistance line here. It was through, was it 510? Yeah, that was over 100% at that point. Stock pulled back, came back up to resistance. This 11.25 failed to break above it. If you don't know how to enter in on a 1-minute candle, this might have gotten you, right? So it's a trick that, I shouldn't say a trick, but I would say majority of traders don't know how to properly enter off from a 1-minute candle. So if you just simply buying 11.25 break just because the price is moving up through that, you probably get caught into a lot of these wicks and you get hurt quite a bit. So be careful. But it hits that resistance and comes down, never retests, stock cracks VWAP, and it just kind of turns into a dumpster fire the rest of the day, right? Nothing else happens with ALXO. So or I shouldn't say two, but really the only trade was early in the morning if you were up. So I didn't see anything else with ALXO. It wasn't too exciting. And not really any type of VWAP rejection for short. So I don't even know. I wouldn't have been shorting over here anyways. And I don't think it did anything else over here. Oops. Nope. It was pretty flat. Anybody gets do something wrong with ALXO or do something right? Any questions on it? I don't think a lot of people traded that one. SPRC. This was the one that I think most people traded. 10-3. There we go. So we're looking in this area. So there we go. Perfect. 7 o'clock comes out. This stock starts moving up. Here's the news. I'm just assuming it has a news pop because it started running up. There's your news pop, right? If you're not in down here, right when the news comes out and before the stock is up quite a bit, you know, this is what I would consider up quite a bit. So if you miss this first candle from 375 and now it's up here at 414 and you're chasing, I think that's a little bit too high. I'd rather just see what stock come up. It's going to have some type of pullback at whatever point. In this case, $5 natural was right here, and it decided to stop. And then what happens? It pulls back, reverses through VWAP. And if you're missing any of this, you just simply get in here at 488 or $5, and then there's your push. Your target is what? This 50 MA. So that's what we're looking for. The stock, you know, from here, from 488 or $5, still ran up $6. This is $1 a move, a share here. That's big. You better be selling some into natural. But if you didn't, then what? You got RSI telling you got what? The body is pulling off. You got that extension. You got the doji. So if you're still in from here or $5, you're still probably saying, you know what? I'm still going to look for this 625. That's fine. Or 627 to 50. But you're looking for a flag, right? And now you have a new upper resistance line, which is now formed. 571, right below 575. But you can throw the flag on it. In this case, it was trending like that. Rejected, came down. Kind of go sideways. It's holding the 10 EMA. And then boom, this is the candle that I would have been like, you know what? I'm not going to give back everything and you're out. You're pretty much, if you didn't lock in any profits into natural, you're out barely for profits or break even. Now, I see a lot of people that get in, do this, they get in, and then all of a sudden they didn't sell anything in here and it went on this massive move and you're frustrated with yourself, right? I've been there. It does happen. It happens. It's happened to me a lot. Trust me, tons, hundreds of times. You get frustrated with yourself and then what happens? You fail to ignore or fail to realize that this is not looking good anymore. And you need to just get out and protect yourself. You can't be like, man, I gave back, you know, I was up $1 a share. I was in 500 shares. So I was up $500. And now I'm back here. I'm only up, you know, $60 because I'm in at 488 and I'm just going to hold it. You can't do that because what happens is next thing it's back down and then you're sure you're up $500, then you're up $60 and now you're down $200 or $300. You know, who knows, but just don't be that person. Don't let that frustration turn that missed opportunity into a big loss. Simply do what? Protect yourself when it cracks, shows you some type of bearish sign. You know, that might have even been your bearish sign, but that's pretty close in the bull flag. So I would have probably still held in through that. But get out and now you're protected. And now you're looking for what? You're either looking for whatever type of pattern you like, triangle or you know, downtrend or whatever, or you're just saying, you know what, when it comes up here, 574, 571, this is going to be my next break. You're looking, and what happens? What do I say all the time? If a stock is worth a dang, does anybody know what I say? Anybody complete my sentence? Someone.
It'll give a pullback and you can re-enter. We'll get back up.
If the stock's worth a dang, it will give you a new opportunity. If the stock's a piece of junk, it's just going to go back, right? So SPRC is worth a ding and you miss it. You can't have FOMO on any of this. You miss it. If it's worth a ding, it's going to continue to go. It's going to give you another trading opportunity. If you failed to do any of this or whatever, or play this perfect VWAP roll that happened to be right here, you simply played the break of your resistance that you know is very easy to see. And you're going up through 571. You're selling some into your 50, your original target from playing back here. And then what? Once the 50 breaks, you should already know where your next target is, 100%. Now you're looking for 100% and you're selling some in there. What do you see? Look at, it's like clockwork. You got the bodies pulling off the 8 and 10 EMA. You got high RSI. You just ran into resistance. Why would you not sell some and lock in some profits? Because a pullback is going to happen. It's guaranteed at some point. So lock it in, because if the pullback keeps pulling back, you're not getting another selling opportunity. This one does have this goofy candle, which, I don't see why anybody would enter off from that. Just the quick volume surge. To me, it didn't give me any trading entry like signals, because sure, if this would have set up, I would have been waiting at the end of this. Okay, if I'm not in from any of this, I missed all that. Now I'm watching, okay, 708, we're going to look, but what happens? It's a flat red, so it didn't give me my entry. So, because I would have gotten in probably here, waiting for the next push through 100, and maybe I had a target up here. There's 200%, it's up here at 11. But if I would have played through this 100% area, I would have been looking for this 763, then 848, then 895, then 944, $10, which I don't have marked, and 11. See how I have all this stuff marked on my chart before? You can't be doing this when you get into the trade. So anyways, this stuff, you have to see it. Extension, higher SI, it's going to happen. Lock in some profits, because I guarantee you a lot of people are missing this still. Doesn't mean it's dead. Just be ready. Be ready. But it doesn't happen. This fake out happens, and then it cracks, and then I probably would have been out my remaining shares. So if you're in from 571 break, you sold some here, you sold some here. We'll just say you did it perfectly. Sold it. I would have been stopped out my remaining shares here at 674. Now see if you didn't. Now we'll talk about if you didn't sell any here. You didn't sell any here, and you're kind of just that one buy, one sell person. Still, you should be stopping out around here, and you still would have made profits from 571 to 675. That's still $1 profit. So even if you didn't do it perfectly, you still walked away pretty nice. So SPRC worked out pretty good there. Then what happens? It pulls back, 10 EMA, all that stuff's trying to hold. Look at what happens here at market open. This was fake out candle. Boom, 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 nothing. I still wouldn't have been touching it here. It tried to hold the 50 on the daily, try reverse up. Doesn't. I'm not looking at the stock until around here anyways. Unless we had like some type of perfect VWAP roll, which could have probably tried to set up here, but it just, like I said, it didn't do it. And then what happens? The stock dies off and down it goes. I don't think it did anything else the rest of the day. So once again, look at all this clean, nice trading opportunity we have in pre-market, and nothing else happened intraday or during the aftermarket open. So pretty good. So any questions on SPRC or any other stocks on Tuesday? Nope. Okay. Let's move to Wednesday then. FRLN was the one that I really wanted to talk about, because this was the one that had that great, I think it was news pop here. Yep. So FRLN, I can go back and I can watch my Zoom session from this day, and this came out with news. I talked about it. I said, hey, get ready and wait for volume come in. Look at what time this candle is, 7:03. News didn't come out at 7:03. News came out at 7 on this one, around that, right at that time, 7:01. So we had 1 or 2 minutes of basically saying, hey, buy in on this or look for volume. As soon as volume or candle starts moving, you click enter. That's how you get in on a news pop. You can't be like, oh, the stock's moving up, I'm getting in up here. Nope, you're too late to the party. If you're just now seeing it and it's up here, or for whatever reason you didn't pull the trigger over here, but pulling the trigger on news pop is hard and scary, right? Why? Because majority of the time, the spread is larger and there's no volume, just something about there being like 200 shares traded on stock really freaks traders out. That should freak traders out if you're trading from 9:30 on. But if you're trying to be a pre-market player, who cares what the volume is, honestly? I care what the volume is after I'm in it, but that's it. So what happens? Comes out, you have plenty of time to get in, and then it comes up. If you missed it, you got to wait for the resistance. The 50 MA on the weekly, or sorry, not the 50, the 200, that was the target. So if I was in from here, I'm looking for this. It comes up, it hits it. I put my intraday resistance line. So if I miss the news pop, I now need a pullback. Pullback happens. We come down. We're staying above the 8 and 10 EMA. RSI cools off. And then you're looking for the break of, either of these two areas. 622 was what I was looking for. And then you got to look at a nice doji flat green candle here through 622. And now my next target is what? 100%. It's already done. I played this. I think, yeah, I did play this. I think I played this on my Thinkorswim account and had a little issue with the stupid active trader, but I'm figuring out still. I got out some, I think, into this push here because I was in, I think, down here. I'd have to remember. And then I was looking for 100%. It did not get to 100%. Missed it by what? 25 cents, kind of double top. So the candles did tell us, hey, we double top, did doji, then came down. So if you're in from here or here, you can't just be like, oh, it's going to go to 100%. I'm not selling no matter what. It's still extremely bullish. Look at, you should have been selling either end of this candle, start of this candle, or this candle. One of these two should have been your max. But look at what they still are. They're still above your entry. So you still, regardless if you got in, you didn't lock in any profits through this, it was a gimme, right? Sure, it's frustrating. Things are going to be frustrating. 621, it runs up $1. You didn't lock in any profits. And then you give it all back. That's fine. But you're out break even or barely above, and you're not turning it into a losing trade, because then what happens? You're like, well, it's still going to go to 100%. It's going to hold here at 640. I'm going to give it, the 640 crack. Then what happens? This candle just goes whoosh, way down, and now it's down at 590. And you're like, oh man, I wasn't fast enough on the trigger. I got the 50 MA. I'm going to give it till a 50 MA because it's the only one. And Alan sounds so positive, and Joe Blow on Twitter sounds good, and StockTwits is going off. Now your emotions are getting to you, and you're like, I'm going to give it the 50 MA. So now what happens? Comes on 50 MA, and then down more. You're like, crap. So that's how you turn something that you should have been out with maybe $10 profit or break even or maybe a minuscule loss into a big bag of crap, right? So you don't want to do that. And then it never happens. It never happens. And you're just there staring at yourself like, why did I do that? So, because what happens if this would have missed 100% and came down here, you stop yourself out and you're still looking for it. New upper resistance line would have been here at $7. You would have just played a reversal or like a downtrend reversal, right? So you would have been looking for a reversal through a downtrend if you like those, or you're looking for here, and then sure, you're looking for 100%. That's still 50 cents. You left $1 on the table over here. That's fine, but that's still good. But what did that do? You're out here and you're limiting your risk of potentially this happening, and you just can re-enter there. So many people are scared of getting out and getting back in and limiting yourself. I will tell you, the art of day trading is this. You want to know how to be safe? Be in a stock the least amount of time, because the longer you're in a stock day trading, your risk goes up exponentially. Now, the only time I'd say hold a stock you want to be in long is when you're shorting, right? You want to end, midday fade or whatever. Yeah, if you're shorting, you just hold that thing, as long as it's going down, because with time usually it does. So, but to the bullish side on breakout, you want to be in that stock as little amount of time as possible. So FRLN, that makes sense. Anybody confused? Any questions? No. Okay. We'll move. Let's see. Usually I do these for about an hour, so we're coming up on 8. Let me before I keep running on the list, let's and I'll review one or two more here. Is there any questions, not even to these stocks, but any questions just in general that you're waiting for me to shut up for so you could ask? I know there was one that was asked. Let me see. They asked, can you discuss ways to decide quickly whether to buy when you first mention a stock? Well, when I first mention a stock, I guess depends on what way you're asking that. Are you mentioning it like in a, like in one of my care package things, or when I mention it like, hey, the stock has news, let's watch it? Because if it's like, hey, the stock has news or something, let's watch it, that doesn't mean like just because I put it on my screen, that doesn't mean buy in right away. That's not what I'm saying. Now, if you're looking at a care package, if that's what you're talking about, then as long as that is issued and the stock starts breaking that key level, then that's when you're trying to enter the play. In pre-market, when I'm doing my Zoom calls in the morning, I'm not really issuing too many alerts because it's, one, I feel like I'm on voice and the people that are trading anyways are going to be following along. Sure, I don't say like, okay, team, get ready, everybody buy right here. Like, I'm not going to do that. But if there's something I can say or help, or maybe I just don't want to be like the stock's up here and be like, come back in and be like, oh yeah, I bought it here at 622. Like, I'm not trying to be that person. I feel like the people that kind of tell you where they entered after the fact, those people, the reason they're doing that is because they're only going to tell you about it if it works out. The people that enter and then this trade doesn't work out, you don't hear about that majority of the time. And that's just the industry standard, So, so be careful if anybody is doing that. We want to work with each other and see similar things. So if there's an area of interest that you like just chime in or post it or send me a DM, be like, hey, I really think that this stock has a really good look at $7, and maybe it's here at like 676 or something, or coming up. Like, give us that heads up before, if you want to share. But I guess, drawing out your chart and, posting it after you're done and like showing like, hey, this was a nice triangle, and like try and learn off that like that's proper. But you're just coming in to say, I got this, and, to brag. We're not trying to do that. We don't really care about that stuff. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. I'll try to be a little bit more clear in pre-market if that's what you're talking about when I first mention a stock. But I try to walk you through them while I'm in it or while I'm looking for a trade. But for majority of its part, I don't issue alerts too much because I feel like traders are on the call and they hear my voice anyways. I don't care about the stupid little green check marks. I just want everybody to do their stuff. There was a couple other stocks on 10-4, Vino, VVOS, IKT. Let's see. Let's look. I think Vino, was it Vino or VVOS was good. We don't always have to review good trades as well. But yeah, this was one. So it had something going on at 8. I'm assuming this was some type of news, but this goes hand in hand with what I've been saying. Stock if it did come out with news, it came out. If you're chasing any of these candles, this is from $1.88. This is up to $2.68. That's too big of a move already for the price, of this current stock. Can't chase $2 stock up, 70 something cents. So you got to wait for what? Wait for the pullback and then get in. There was a little bit of pullback here. You could have, a couple traders might have tried here. I can see how that could have faked you out, this quick little down candle. But I don't know how this looked on the tape when this was coming up through. Obviously, it didn't open above, so that, so hopefully that didn't get anybody. The people that know how to read the tape, I don't think they would have got stuck in that. But what happens? You're still looking for 236 is that upper resistance. Stock pulls down. It looks like right here, it's just something that's going to give it all back. It reverses back up, comes up through VWAP. Then you get the clean break through 36. This line wasn't here yet. And then the stock runs up. We're looking on this stock target, what? The 50 MA, and then you got 100%. So these are the bigger targets. This line wasn't there yet either. So when stock comes up, breaks the first resistance line, comes up here. For whatever reason, it decides to stop at $2.60, which is kind of here just where these tops are. I have noticed, and I have been personally selling into when a stock looks like this into the high. There's nothing wrong to play the break and just be like, you know what, I'm going to get out 25% into these highs, these wicks, just in case it does what, like double tops and comes back down. In this case, it pretty much does that, double top or triple top, whatever you want to call this. I would call this one top, I call this two tops. And then the stock does what? Fails to go any higher. Sets a new resistance line up here. 260. Stock comes down, tries to hold VWAP, tries to hold that support. You know, if you're in from here, I definitely would have been out right when this VWAP was cracking. So if I didn't take any profit off into this because I was looking for the 50 MA that I pointed out way up here, that's fine. You're not getting blinders up and turning it into a big loss because we don't know this is going to happen. Nobody knew this was going to happen over here. You can't hold and hope. So what am I? I'm out for small profit, break even, or a teeny tiny loss if you were very late on getting out of that trade from this entry. Stock does, however, hold down here 50 MA, comes back up, does some little form of VWAP reversal. If you miss this, you're still looking for what? Your new upper resistance is 260. So it pops up through 260, puts a doji right on it, flags right on 260 and goes. So your break was either that candle or that candle. Because I'm assuming these candles did not open above because they were on the line. And now you're in. Now you're back in the driver's seat from a 260 entry instead of a 236. Big whoop. And you're still looking for what? The 50 MA. Stock comes up. It decides to stop here at 281. Still holds 10 MA. Still looking good. There hasn't really been a reason we didn't like crack the 10 MA because I would have been selling here for my long down there. So you're still in. You're still just waiting. And then what happens? I would take, you have chart history here at 320, but we're coming into market open. So I'm still sure looking for 50 MA, but I am taking some profits. Why? Because market open. What I just went over this first thing on the call when we first got here, that I take some profits before market opens because I don't, green is green. So I'm locking in some, and then you're still what? Waiting. Boom. Now I'm locking out some more. And then what? My next target after 50 MA is the red line, 100%. So it does hold. And now you're locking out some more, right? Look at what happens. Body of the candle is extended. RSI is up there. You should expect a pullback at any point of these. The body of that candle was extended a little bit there. RSI was high. So, the pullback happened, but it didn't give it all the way back. It held, and we just took the next stair, another little bull flag. And then we move up. You sell some off. So now you're down to like what? I usually sell in 25% or something, 25 or 50% intervals of remaining position. So who knows what I have left at that point. And now I'm just holding because what's next? If it breaks 380 and 100%, maybe I have another target. I don't see anything on this chart. There's 200%. My next big target would be what? Natural $5. So 419. Obviously it comes up and it fails to what? Fails to hold out of this doji. And it goes red and we crack the 10 EMA. So my entry from 260, my max stop loss would have been right here. I would have been out my remaining shares at 361, and that's $1 up after partial sells all the way up. Very easy. See, this is a stair pattern. I said the bulls usually take the stairs, and then the shorts usually flush out. So now you're out. Now you're fine. Sure, I don't care. Maybe, it's going to hold the 50 MA and reverse up. Well, if it does, I'm going to take the next break. My next break up is going to be up here at 388, but I'm safe just in case it doesn't come up. I'm out. I'm not holding, being like, well, I'm going to hold the remaining shares down to 50 or down here. Like, why would you do that? The way I trade, I don't. So then what happens? Nothing else happens. Shorts stay in control this whole freaking time. And if you're a bull waiting for the next reversal, you just flatline and stared at the screen all day. So, but overall, nice trend on Vino. Any questions on that one? And then I think I'll look at, was it one other one I wanted to look at? Was it ICCM? That was a GP. That wasn't, or was it VVOS? Might have been VVOS. Does anybody have a stock they want me to go over on any day that you traded? Nope. Okay. We'll review VVOS. Then I'll have one last round of questions, and then we will call it. Why is this not working? Sometimes. Oh my gosh. Oops. We'll do it this way. Boom. What's PRZO? PRZO was Friday, wasn't it? Yeah. VVOS. Change this. All right, now it's working. There we go. Thank you. Thinkorswim. All right, VVOS was the cheap one. And this was one that came out with news for whatever reason. It was, and stock popped up. And if you weren't quick on the trigger, because this was the little pullback that you would have been watching right here. Right? Even though it's a green candle, it's got a lower high. It held, then you come back up and you break 21 cents. If you miss that, you need to wait for, some type of, either mini flag or larger pullback. But the stock does what? It comes up, hits a 50 MA at 26 cents, sold off. There's one of those quick things. That's what I'm saying. If you get in and you see these, just put a limit sell. You can hit cancel, but at least you have an order sitting up there, because who knows if it's going to just quick up. I'm not trading stuff this cheap right now. Sure, there's always a penny running, but if it's much below like 50 cents, it's hard for me to get involved in it. But we'll just talk about it. So stock comes up, hits it, pulls back, then it tries to come up here, resistance again, and then this thing pretty much just trends all the way up to 100%. There was another buying opportunity here, right here. A little mini bull flag off 10 EMA, but RSI is still extremely high, after the first little pullback. So I'm going to use RSI on the remaining part of it. And I'm just not going to get involved. Then you start to get the candle bodies start to extend, especially here. And you're so close to 100%. It's like, why are you going to, for me, try to get in something just to try to scalp 4 cents with, how many shares I would have to trade for it to be worth my while. This is why I don't trade this stuff, because I know that 4 cents is a big move, but it's just hard for me to change my mindset to it. But anyways, VVOS does come up, hits 100%, has a pullback, or cracks below VWAP, and then I think it comes back up here. Yep, the market open happens. Probably would have had an area of resistance right here off from that candle, and that's probably why it was holding this area. And then this was like kind of the break area with VWAP. But if you played the VWAP push, look at, we kind of have a VWAP roll, little mini bull flag, and the stock moves up, and we're trying to move back up towards 100%. Doesn't really trade anything clean, stops here at 34 cents, comes back down, back below VWAP, comes back up. This would have been your next break up through 100% if you liked it. 200 EMA on the dailies up here towards 200%. It doesn't even do that. So, but now you have a new intraday resistance line that's going to be right here at 39 cents. Stock pulls back up through 100, comes up through 39 cents. So you could have played through here. Once again, doesn't come back up there, puts a new intraday resistance here at now 43 cents. Tries to hold 39 cents, doesn't do it, puts in a lower high, forms what? A downtrend. And then we kind of just hang out in this area. So VVOS, no surprise, but this real choppy, movement, in my opinion, this is not fun to trade in. There's nothing wrong. After market open, you get through this and you just kind of see how this is behaving. Maybe you're getting chopped up. If you're getting chopped up, like, just stop. Like, you just understand that, hey, this thing's a piece of junk. It's not for me. I'm not doing good on it. And I'm going to wait for better opportunity, right? as we've been seeing almost every single one of these stocks that we looked at, the better opportunities right here. It's been like this past week. So that's why I'm going to look forward to this coming week to be that way. So any questions or predictions or what anybody thinks next week's going to be like, or anything to add? And if this trading review was helpful at all. Quiet. Everybody's quiet. Hello. We're good.
Yeah, thank you. Awesome.
All right. Well, I guess let's just get ready for tomorrow. I will probably be taking, I hate to say it, taking off early one last time. So I think I can only trade with you guys till 8:30, which I hate to do on Monday. But like I said, I just got some stuff I got to take care of. So we'll see. So if you gathered anything from this review, if it was me listening in, I would be cautious on chasing into a news pop. Wait, just be aggressive on the pullback and understand that the pullback could be as fast as 1 to 3 candles you need to be looking at. So if I get a pullback, we'll just pretend stock comes out and we get a doji and I get in a doji 2 candles over. I'm going to play any doji flat green entry out off the pullback. And if I miss that, then I'm going to play whatever the intraday resistance is that I have set from the first run up. So in this case, it was here. It's hard to see on VVOS, but that other one was easier. You should know what I'm talking for. So I'm not going to be too aggressive on news pops. I'm going to wait for a pullback, be aggressive on the push through, and I'm going to sell into whatever the wicks are on those high day, just in case it does double top and come back down. So lock in profits, and then the rest I'll let ride until what? Break even, or I'm going up towards my target, or other some type of bearish signal. So that's what I'm going to do on the news plays and concentrate on this week. Understand that everything, or I shouldn't say everything, but it seems like a lot of the tops were at 100%. So that means stocks are not running to 200+% right now. So I'm going to probably sell a little bit more into a 100% target instead of letting more ride for 200% until it proves me wrong, right? So maybe instead of hitting 25% up here, I'll hit 50% or 75% out and then let the little last bit just in case YOLO to the moon, right? But at least I'm locking up more of my gains. And then sure, if the next one comes out and it rips to 200, 300%, then I'll go back and I'll sell a little bit less into this as I'm waiting for more of my shares to ride higher. So that's what I'm going to adjust. And I'm not going to, and I'm definitely not going to be aggressive into market open. We seen one stock, and that was on Monday. After that, everything else was a fake out breakout, and nothing else reversed and moved up. So I'm not going to be aggressive and break my rules first 3 to 5 minutes. If you're trading market open, I say watch it, let the dust settle, and let's see if something turns and changes. If anything, if you want to be aggressive with something, be aggressive short. But if you're not shorting, don't just start shorting Monday because I said be aggressive short. Don't do that. So those are what I'm going to look for on Monday, and then obviously into Tuesday, since I'm going to be able to trade more on Tuesday. So if I didn't answer anything, please send me a DM. And other than that, I will see you all back here tomorrow at 7 a.m.